Assalamu alaikum, and the peace and blessings of Allah be on you all as we welcome you to the MTA studios in London. In today's edition of the program, we're looking at the second coming of Jesus Christ. The Ahmadiyya Muslim community believes that the Messiah awaited by all religions has come in the form of Mirza Ghulam Ahmed of Qadian. So who was this man, and how can the Ahmadiyya community prove that this is the awaited Messiah? And with me to look into the issue is Iftikhar Ayaz. Iftikhar, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuhu.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah wa barakatuhu.
Ayaz, this is a topical issue. Many religions are waiting the coming of the Messiah, the second coming of the Messiah. Who is this Messiah?
Well, all the religions are actually waiting for the re-advent of their founder or the leader of the religion. And every religion has been given some signs to identify the time and the person when it happens. You find in the Bible itself, there are signs about destruction and natural catastrophes, earthquakes, storms, killings. Lots of such signs are given about the re-advent. And actually, Jesus himself said that his re-advent will be in his spirit, not physical. It will be in his spirit. So obviously, we are not, or even Christians are not looking forward to a physical reappearance of the same Jesus.
But some Christians believe that Jesus Christ will come in bodily form from the heavens, flying onto the earth. How do you reconcile that with the spirit that Jesus said he will come?
Well, actually, he did not say that he will come with the same body and features and shape which he had during his first appearance. There's nothing like that.
Okay.
So his coming is parabolical.
Okay.
He's explained that in parables. And actually, coming down with wings and all that is that his appearance will be amongst such signs which will be very distinct and noticeable by humans. When you see something, coming down from the heaven with wings and all that, that will become the focus of attention of everyone. Everyone would want to see it. So God Almighty was going to show such signs at the time of the advent of the reformer of the latter days, that the whole world will be attracted, and that his message will spread all over the world. So it was a great indicator, it was a great sign for humans to identify the person who is the representative, the viceregent of God in this age. The signs were given to all the religions to watch for this time and identify the person who's been raised by God in this age.
Right.
And this is an age where all humanity needs divine guidance.
Right.
Because there is so much of breakdown of humanity.
Right now, before we go to the reasons why a reformer is needed, in the Bible, we are told that Elijah's second coming was fulfilled in John the Baptist. Is it one of the reasons why the Ahmadiyya Muslim community believes that the coming of second coming of Jesus Christ doesn't necessarily mean that Jesus Christ will come in the same way? Is this one of the reasons?
Yeah, he very much explained, that just as the Muslims believe that the Mahdi has to come before the Messiah, see. So this is just the same sort of conception which the Christians had. And actually all those predictions and all those prophecies were fulfilled in the form of Jesus' advent when he arrived. In the same way, when the Messiah of this age arrived, all those who were awaited, by Muslims, the Mahdi, etc., they were all fulfilled in the embodiment, in the person of one person who was designated as the Messiah.
Right, now let's narrow it to the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. The Ahmadiyya Muslim community believes that the second coming of Jesus Christ, may the peace and blessings of Allah be on him, has already been fulfilled in the person of Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmed. What are some of the reasons why the Ahmadiyya Muslim community believes that the second coming of Jesus Christ has been fulfilled in Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmed?
Well, basically, his coming is not out of place because he has come to revive the dignity and the glory of Islam in its true sense. And he has come back to revive the pristine, pure teachings of Islam. And he has come back also to revive the law that was brought and given to the founder of Islam, the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said very clearly that I have not brought another law. It is the same law which was brought by the Holy Prophet. And when he declared about his coming, he said very clearly that God desires to found a community of the faithful of mankind to establish his glory and power. He will make the community grow, that is, God will make the community grow and prosper to establish the love of God, righteousness, and also the community will raise a group of persons devoted to God. He shall strengthen them with his own spirit and bless and purify them. So God will do that. And this revelation, which he had, we see that this is being fulfilled. And part of the revelation was that this community will multiply exceedingly.
What are some of the signs during his time that indicate that truly he was the promised Messiah that all religions were awaiting?
Yeah. For example, you see the big sign of the eclipse of the moon and the sun. It's a unique sign which has never been shown for the truth or identification of any other prophet. And this sign of the eclipse of the moon and the sun was fulfilled in 1894. You see, so beautifully it was fulfilled, and the whole world saw it. And it was not only fulfilled in Asia, it was also fulfilled in America. So the East and the West, the people in the East, the people in the West were able to see the fulfillment of that sign. See. And then even in accordance with the Bible, the timing is so ripe for the appearance of a messenger of God, of a reformer, who will reunite mankind under one religion and one faith.
Right. Now, who was the promised Messiah after the signs? What were some of his deeds?
Well, obviously, the very fact that this person was brought up in a very remote and isolated corner of the world, about which no one knew anywhere. Most of the world had not even heard of the name of that place and had no idea where that place existed. And no one even knew about him. Now, rising from that, and then gradually enticing and attracting the interest of so many people, He founded this community in 1889 and he passed away in 1908. Just 19 years. And within that period of 19 years, almost 500,000 people had converted to his community. Just imagine, a person in an isolated, remote area where there is no connection of communication of any sort. There is even no rail connection, there are no roads, there is no telephone, nothing of the sort. And this man, within such a short span of time, just imagine what is 19 years is nothing. And he has about 400, 500,000 people who've become his followers.
Now, what was his core message? Because one of the accusations against the promised Messiah, may the peace and blessings of Allah be on him, is that he seeks to supplant the message of the Holy Prophet of Islam, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Well, actually, in this world today, and the very first object of Islam was to establish peace. At the time of the advent of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, history knows what was the condition and situation of Arabs. They were divided up in clans, each clan fighting the other one, killing. There was no recognition of the status of women. It was, a terrible society. And within a very short span of time, the whole society was revolutionized into a unified group of dedicated, devoted people who were on the right and the left of the Holy Prophet to create and extend that revolution to the whole of Arabia and other parts of the world. And this was exactly the object of the promised Messiah, to reunify mankind. The situation in India, particularly at that time, was horrible. The Muslims were fighting the Christians were trying to annihilate Muslims from India, and Hindus, were foul-mouthing against Islam and the Holy Prophet ﷺ every day. It was terrible. A Muslim with a conscience could not bear all that at all. And it was in that situation that God raised him, right in the middle of the chaos that was there. And he created such a good impression upon the people through his teaching and his conduct as well, that people just came to him. And if you will give me the opportunity, I will tell you what he said for that society. And the same message stands true for the society of today, especially for Muslims and others as well.
Right.
He said, be the true well-wishers of everyone. There should be nothing inside you except truth, and there should be nothing outside you except truth and sympathy for mankind. This is what he said. And if you desire that God should be pleased with you in heaven, become to each other like real brothers.
Right.
This is what he said. And he said, it is our principle to have sympathy for the whole of mankind. If a person sees that the fire has broken out in the house of a Hindu neighbor and he does not, help, then he is not a part of him, a part of this community.
Right. Let's look at one sensitive area, one accusation by some Muslims that the promised Messiah, may the peace and blessings of Allah be on him, said that laid claim to a prophethood. And this comes against the backdrop of Hatamun Nabi'in, that the Holy Prophet of Islam, Muhammad, is the seal of the prophets. How do you react to this one?
Well, it's really a question of common sense, you see, because seal is not used to close a file. Seal is used to endorse a document. Seal is used to endorse an attestation. And the Holy Prophet Muhammad was given a teaching which was the essence of the teaching that was given to all the prophets. And that is why he was given this designation of Khatam, seal. That is, he was endorsed, he was to attest that all that teaching was true teaching. And that teaching has been put together in a very succinct manner in the Holy Quran for the mankind for all the time. So that is why Khatam does not mean, that God gives you something and then he says, okay, this is the end of it and I'm not going to give you any more. God will never do that, because humanity will need divine guidance all the time. Even look in the present age, there is so much of irreligiousness, there is so much of godlessness. The other day, it was in the national papers here that a lot of churches are closing because they don't have any people to attend on Sundays.
Right, so Iftikhar, would you say that some of these statements are metaphorical? Because the Holy Prophet Muhammad, the peace and blessings of Allah be on him, is reported to have said, there will be no prophet after me, but if Ibrahim, my son, had been alive, he would have been a prophet.
Yeah, I mean, there are such sayings which are quoted by these people. But then there are very strong sayings which are quoted by the Holy Prophet ﷺ and by his wife Aisha as well, which very distinctly mention that there will be a prophet after the Holy Prophet.
Can you give us some?
Well, for example, some people ask, Hazrat Aisha about the future of Islam. And she said that if there was no prophet, coming after the Holy Prophet ﷺ, then Muslims will not have any true leadership, which is very important for their future and for their prosperity. And then again, you find that very clearly the Holy Prophet ﷺ said that there will be a period of decline. After a period of glory, there will be a period of decline. And then at the end of it, God will again raise the one who will reunify Muslims. What a clear saying and what a clear prophecy.
Right. Did Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad bring in a new law?
He did not bring any new law at all.
Because that has been one of the accusations also.
Yeah, he's one of the accusations. But obviously he said that he had attained, or he was rewarded and he was given this special status of prophethood by Allah because of his absolute dedication and devotion to the founder of Islam, the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he was completely immersed in the love of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the whole mission of his life, of his prophethood, was to revive and strengthen that teaching which had been lost over the period of time. And this is what the Ahmadiyya community is today and what the Ahmadiyya community is doing today.
So would you say that his coming is even more relevant looking at the state of Islam today? Islam is completely being looked down upon. There is turbulence on all fronts. Is this necessary for him, looking at the context? Would you say his coming is necessary?
Well, actually, you see, there is a hue and ha and cry amongst Muslims. Even the IS, what do they want? They want to establish a khilafat. This is what they want. And there have been other attempts to establish a khilafat, because one thing is there. The Muslims all over the world, because of the horrific and terrible situation in which they have realized that their only way forward is the unification of all Muslims under one khilafat. this awareness is now rising. And they only have to open their eyes to see that this has already happened. They cannot rely and survive on a man-made khilafat. This is not possible.
It should be spiritual.
It has to be spiritual, it has to be divine, you see. And this is what we claim our khilafat is. It is a divine khilafat. It is established by God Himself. And that is why we see that with whatever resources we have, our achievements are so marvelous.
Right. So let's look at the successorship, the Khilafat of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, having come onto the scene with the message of Allah to revive and reform Islam. How has the successorship been like?
Well, his successorship, so far we see, right from the beginning, started in 1908, and to this day, which is 107 years now, has proved amazing. It has astonished the world. The world just wonders how this community has achieved the position it has in the world today. And it has all to do with the leadership of the community. And it cannot happen without a divine leadership. How can you, or how anyone can imagine one person who is accepted as a leader, as the heart accepts the beat of a person? The whole world, over 200 million people, 207 countries of the world, everywhere, all races, all colors, all languages, everywhere, everyone who listens to his voice, wherever he is just, electrified to stand up and act immediately. That is the effect, of his word and of his teaching. And this cannot happen. There is not a single leader in the world, a human being, whose voice has even gone across the borders of his country. Therefore, the world has to recognize that what is needed for Muslims is a divine leadership. The connection with God has to be strengthened, and the way God wishes to reform and take care of our future, we have to accept that. And that way is to accept the divine way of our leadership, which is Khilafat, and a divine Khilafat which has been established and taken care of by God Himself.
They have refused to follow divine guidance under the Khilafat of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. Do you think that could be responsible?
Well, actually, this is much more to do with ignorance and negligence. First of all, as I was saying earlier on as well, the Muslim leaders themselves have very little knowledge of the true teachings of the Holy Quran and the way the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ dealt with all these issues. And the life of the Holy Prophet ﷺ is absolutely clear to the whole world, like a book. And you never anywhere find that he dealt with situations through violence or through killing. Even, the wars he had to fight were not his wars. They were just thrown on him, and he had to stand up because God told him to stand up to defend his people. And that is what he did. He abhorred killing. He abhorred violence. And God says in the Holy Quran very clearly that God hates violence, and God rewards those people who are here to spread peace and harmony. And God has also said that those people who spread violence and disruption in the world, they will be meted out with punishment. if not in this world, in the hereafter.
Right. Other non-Muslims have expressed worry. They listen to the message of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, which is peace and non-violence. And they are worried at the spate of atrocities being meted out to Ahmadis. They say, if this is your message of peace, why should you be persecuted? Why are Ahmadis, despite all these, being persecuted?
Well, the thing is, the Ahmadis are persecuted by those who find the Ahmadiyya ways of presenting Islam and showing Islam in word and deed a challenge to them. People who are misleading humans, and they are giving them a sort of teaching which favors their own personal interests. How can they bear, to let people join a community which goes totally against their motives and intentions and purifies those people to be able to follow Islam in its pristine purity? So this is the whole issue. The persecution of Ahmadis is not only on the basis of religion, it is also on the basis of politics. So it is the politico-religious organizations. You find all these groups who are persecuting Ahmadis. They also have political interests. You look at these organizations in Pakistan and even in the Middle East. All these organizations have political ambitions and political intentions.
Iftikhar, we wish we could continue on and on, but that is all time will allow us on this edition of the program. We've been talking to Iftikhar Ayaz, who has recently been knighted by the Queen of England, who is also chairman of the Ahmadiyya Human Rights Committee. So till we come your way again from the studios of the MTA International in London, may the peace and blessings of Allah be on us all. Assalamu alaikum.